take a break here and turn the mic over to Mr. Crowley, who will present the most valuable award.
Thanks, Bill. First of all, I'd like to, on behalf of my son, John Spike, who couldn't be here tonight, he called from San Diego expressing his congratulations to everyone on this team. It was one of the reasons he had to resign this year is because he has to be in places like San Diego on Monday nights. And this is, so it's typical. He isn't here. He wishes he could be. He expresses his congratulations to everybody. I'm honored to be able to speak for the San Marino City Club on this award, the Most Valuable Player Award. Now, the most valuable player is selected by his teammates, and he often is the biggest, or the fastest, or the smartest, or the best looking. Sometimes he's none of those things. What he is the one man on the team whose absence during the year would have cost the team the most. The one they would miss the most if he hadn't been there all year. And it gives me a lot of pleasure to say that the MVP for this year is Danny Lloyd. I'll leave it to others to find the trophy or the plaque or whatever. That's a logistical matter that we turn over to the administration.
Tomorrow. No, we just voted on those today because we were thinking of other things last week, so all that stuff will be coming tomorrow at the ABO. I want to thank all of you parents for all the help that you've given us through this season. Believe me, it's been a difficult season. We've made it very difficult on these men because we felt we had to. We just appreciate your patience, and I know that probably all the time you weren't patient, but there was probably a lot of things said under your breath that probably couldn't come out, and I don't blame you a bit. We held them longer than we probably should have, but we had to get something done we thought we could have, and that's why we did. We didn't have a big group of kids. We did not have a group of kids that was big. But we had a group of kids that wanted to work and would not settle. Would not settle for just playing the game. There is nothing wrong with playing the game. But that's when things start getting a little scary because it is really not a game. Football at this level, as I've said before, is a way of life. It doesn't just happen. You can have outstanding athletes. You can have good-sized athletes. It doesn't always click. There's got to be more than just that. This year we had a group of young men that were not outstanding as far as speed. They were not outstanding as far as quickness. They were not outstanding definitely as far as size. But they had brains and they had heart. And believe me, 80% of football, or more, is heart. Now it comes down to a situation like last year here at Costa Mesa, where we were just tremendously out-physical. In other words, they were just so big, they were good athletes, they just couldn't handle it. They just literally pushed us around the field. That is something that could not be avoided. There's nothing we could have done about it. That doesn't mean you're a poor team. We went a long way before we met that team. This year, I will not accept that because this team did not push us around the field. We mentally lapsed, both offensively and defensively. This team could have beat that team 4 out of 5 times if they had played their game. But we had one of those times when we didn't play our game. But you have to realize that for 10 games, they had to be up for every game. It wasn't a situation where they could relax at any time during any one game because they were small, They were outmanned, they didn't have the speed. So every game they had to be on task. Every game, every play. And that's why the practices were so long, because we had to be on task all the time. They took that challenge. They knew what it would mean. Right from the start, it would mean time and time and time, and effort and energy. And that's what they wanted to do. That's where they were willing to put it. Now, when you put that much energy, and when you put that much time, it's going to click. I don't think we quite got to the point where we could show it as good as we are. And I think we did get to the point this game where it was actually too much effort. We tried too hard. We kind of sparked ourselves out. Our time was just little. We made little mistakes that really hurt us. And I'm not saying this, but I'm saying this because I'm proud of them. They hung in there when a lot of the kids really just said, hey, you know, we're on, man. We can't get it done this year. They fought right to the last second. Even though the score was 2 touchdowns away, they figured they might have a chance. They kept shooting for it. We did things like, you know, we hadn't done all year. Missed cues. And those things happen when you're trying so hard. And they seem always to happen in groups. They don't seem to just happen one at a time. And so this last game can be looked on as a tragedy in one way, because it was a team that could have possibly done better. But what a wonderful season to look back on for a team that wasn't even expected to be in the cellar. I mean, the Star News didn't even pick us to be in the league. But this group of young men wanted to show people that, hey, we can play. We are San Marino football. We can live up to San Marino tradition. We're very proud of that tradition. We think it's a great football tradition. It's known throughout the state of California. It's respected throughout the state of California. We think that's real special. And it should be, because this team is really special. Thank you so much for all your help. The Booster Club is without a doubt the best around. There is no other Booster Club that can touch this group. They have done so much. They ask nothing except to help the kids, help the program. Outstanding, fantastic. Our administration, who has done so much to help us. They even come down on the field and talk to us during the game. Even though it's a no-no. But we have had great support throughout the community, from the school board, from the school principals, all the way down. Teachers, coaches, everything. We are proud of the program, and we think that you're proud of them too. Thank you so much for everything.
The coaches got their shots, and now it's the turn of the players to deliver the blow. And this time we're going to stay with the schedule. I want to ask, I want to introduce the first one. I want to ask that if you would, upon completing your small speech, small, emphasis on small, that you introduce the next speaker, and we'll go right through this. First, I'd like to ask Chris Shonda, please.
I'm here to thank the managers and the statisticians. We didn't really have one specific statistician, so we had like a bunch of people volunteer and help us. So we're gonna, instead of naming that large list, we're gonna concentrate mostly on the managers, who through some of the worst times of the team and through the worst times with the coaches during bad parts of the game got yelled at sometimes. Wally can tell you about that. Sometimes when they forget the balls or the water, but they were there almost all the time. Waleed and Flavio used to come out after school every day when they didn't need to and help us with water jugs, and they were always there to help us. Wally, Flavio, Sean, Mark Azadian running along beside the little guy who all about is twice as big as him, carrying him out to the field, and Robbie were all there to help us. Flavio's gift is on the way, but we have gifts up here from the Gap. I'm not really quite sure what they are, but for Robbie, come on up. Waleed, come on.
One of your first names on the program.
Sean. If Flavio's here, take a bow. Your gift's on its way, I think. Oh, he's not here? Well, that's why his gift didn't come up. Thank you. Managers. And next, Greg Mander's going to tell us all about the team doctor.
Although he's not here tonight, I'd like to thank Dr. Dietrich for donating all his time at the games, and especially at the physical, where he helped the Booster Cup earn a lot of money. Give him a round of applause. Next up, Brandon.
Alright, I'm talking about our trainer, Mercedes, who is unfortunately not here tonight. But Mercedes has been with San Marino for numerous amount of years, and hopefully will be here for a lot longer, because she's great, she knows what she's doing. Mercedes was always on the sideline, and ready to help the injured players. She even was there when we broke our helmets, buckles on the side, she would fix them while we were taking our rest. The one thing I think I remember about Mercedes is Saturday morning when we would go and the injured players got to go in and get the so-called get checked out. This is
So cool.
I didn't know we had that many players.
We all go in, like 10 of us, and sit there and talk. I think that there were a couple of us that would be regulars there. That would be Tucker Sabo, Mark, myself, Eddie, and of course Dan. Dan has an interesting story. He would go in there, not to get looked at, but just to talk.
That's good.
He'd avoid the weightlifting, while everyone else is out there working. But this year we had very few injuries and a lot of success. We had a lot of the success to Mercedes, who always made sure that we were okay and fixed up so we could be ready to play when we needed it. If she was here, give her a round of applause, but unfortunately she's not, so.
Only if she's here.
Too, and Keith Silvers to get thanks to the pep.
Oh my God. We gotta rehearse this, so get it down to a word.
Throughout the many years of sports, there have always been cheerleaders. They cheer you on during games and pretend to be interested in the game. But they just really don't care. They pretend to be happy and pretend to be cheerleaders just for the image. Those are your average cheerleaders. The cheerleaders that we have at San Marino are a totally different story. They care for the players. They brought us frozen Otter Pops and a nice blend of Gatorade base. much water, not too much powder. Just right. It really made us feel special because they brought it on their own without us knowing. It really surprised us. They brought us 3 dozen donuts every Wednesday night, and sometimes even 6 dozen. They never once missed our donut deliveries, and we really like that. I mean, wow, that many donuts. Filled. During games, they motivated us. Their encouragement and cheers really gave us energy and boosted our spirits. They are one of the best cheerleading squad in the San Gabriel Valley area. As mentioned in the Star News, their dog cheer,
What?
the Go SM, the Go Fight Win, are all embedded in our heads. When it was 4th and goal, it gives us more determination to score. Football and cheerleaders are a good combination. A football game without cheerleaders is just another game. And now with the following recipients, please come up and receive your gifts. And that would have to be Commissioner Elizabeth Randall. Mascot, Inga Tante Salazar. Varsity Yell members, Melissa Dittmar, Meg Pearson, Cynthia Stevens, Lily Stevens, Stephanie Stahl, Christine Kyle, Sue, Noel Day, and for five, Lindsay Dietrich, Angela Hahn, Judy Haynes, Susan Lee, Kelly Moreno, Rebecca Tran, Andrew Song, Becky Andrews, Bonnie Houston, Megan Robinson, Jordan Rosenthal, and Jessica Cole. Unfortunately, our other mascot, Hannah Chow, is not here, and our other commissioner, Christy Musser, is unavailable tonight. Next up, offensive.
He stick the character, yes.
Summation, Danny Lloyd and Tucker Saylor.
Thanks, Eric. Okay, well, this year we featured a very exciting offense, but it took a lot of work. We were a very young and inexperienced team at the beginning of the season. The offensive line had to work especially hard to overcome their inexperience. But after losing our first 2 games, we went on to win 9 straight and showed that we could play football. What made our offense so exciting was our strong passing game. It also enabled us to come from behind to win many games. I don't think our team was ever worried at halftime if we were losing. We were truly a second-half team, and we never gave up. We also had great running backs who ran hard and caught many balls coming out of the backfield. And Dan's going to say some more.
So it doesn't go too long. That sums up. That
that sums it up. I'd like to personally thank the linemen, though, the offensive linemen in the backs for protecting me so well this year. As John said, I was never really hurt. I was never really hurt. I was usually talking in the training room because they protect me so well. Thank you, linemen.
Eddie Sly and Jimmy Tripodis for defensive summation.
Our defense this year was, I feel really effective this year, thanks to the big part of the great coaching of Coach Maloney. And it was really hard at the beginning of the year because we had a lot of underclassmen starting this year. I think it was eight juniors starting, and 7 juniors and 1 sophomore starting this year on defense, which will help them a lot next year. But it was really difficult for us in the first 2 games to get it going. But throughout the year, our defense has shown great improvement, especially in the league when we had 3 shutouts in a row. And to the linemen, well, we were not the biggest bunch of people, but probably the quickest around. You know, people like me and Kurt, but we showed a lot of dedication and we worked hard to get to this point, and I just want to thank Coach Maloney for a wonderful season and for the memories. Thanks, Coach.
Good job, Eddie. Very eloquent. I'm going to speak about our linebackers and our defensive backs. We started working together in spring football and summer passing league. Maybe a few went up to those games, I'm not really sure. It's like 7-on-7 play, 2-hand touch type thing. Highlights from passing league included 2 victories over Division II powerhouse Hart High School, which is currently undefeated. We also beat St. Francis, Duarte, and Pasadena in 7-on-7. All those schools are very good schools. Passing league was good because it taught us to play together and get a lot of the kinks out that we normally wouldn't get out until about the 3rd or 4th game into the regular season. We were very young on defense this year, as everyone's already said. Starting 5 juniors and 1 sophomore, so obviously inexperience was a major dilemma for us. Luckily, we all got along, and quickly we gained trust in each other, and a bond was formed, as well as very strong defense. During the entire season, we gave up an average of 11.5 points a game and kept all but one of our opponents under 21 points. We allowed an average of 6.2 points a game during league play, which was, out of 25 schools in the San Gabriel Valley, from what the Star News does, we were the best, of course. Our DBs, which are like our cornerbacks and our safety, consisted of Nathan Decker, a junior at cornerback, Hiro Tando, a senior at corner, and Mark Montoya did a very fine job this year as a junior starting at safety. They all had to learn new positions this year, and all were 2-way starters. However, stepped up strongly to compile 5 interceptions. Kevin Sajo and Sean Zadian also contributed strongly to the success of our defensive backfield. Our linebackers included me, outside linebacker Shannon Proud, and junior Tony Avila, who call our plays, and he did a very good job deciphering Coach Maloney's calls from the sideline. Something that I found very difficult to do the last game. They all look exactly the same in the lights, but I don't know. Tony also led the entire area in tackles. I think he had over 130, maybe 120 something. 127 tackles. And Tony was a workhorse this year. He started both ways. He was a strong player. And Anthony DiGiovanni and James McLaughlin also played a lot of linebacker and did a great job for us. when they played. We had our ups and downs this year due to our youth, but I feel next year's team will be unpenetrable on defense due to so many returning starters who possess such great skills. I believe our defense played to our football motto at San Marino: love to hit, hate to lose, refuse to quit. One thing this defense didn't do is quit. We followed in the tradition of Bill Maloney's ruthless and stubborn defenses. Next up, Anthony Giovanni on special teams. Maybe a little later. All right, I'm here to talk about special teams. This year, the special teams have done a lot to contribute to our successful season. Throughout the year, there were many great plays made to set up our offense as well as our defense with good field position. I can remember the Blair game where the special teams scored 3 touchdowns. I also remember the last kickoff at Covina, but I don't want to talk about that. Some of the most memorable plays include the block punts, numerous fumble recoveries, and of course the touchdowns. I think special teams were particularly enjoyable to play on because there were not a lot of different plays and formations to worry about. I know that everyone had a great time playing on special teams this season, and a lot of great memories were made. Thank you. A little later on. Next, I'd like to introduce Hero Tando.
I didn't prepare a speech because I think what I have to say to Coach Mooney should come from the heart. And because Coach Mooney played for SC fullback, and he came in this year at spring, and I personally did not know who was supposed to be offensive coordinator. At times I thought Coach Mooney was supposed to be offensive coordinator, but I know that he spends a lot of times watching films, you know, just for our defense, and I know he spends many hours. And if he was to be our offensive coordinator, I know he had to watch films all day long and probably had to live there. So, and our offense is very complicated. It's very, very complicated. Coach Kleinrock was basically half of our what's called knowledge for our whole time program, and for Coach Mooney to come along and fill his shoes, well, it's just amazing because he had to memorize every single position in our offense and know them by heart against many types of defense, and that's very complicated. And he's not the kind of guy that you think, you know, go to college, play football, or, you know, just have a free ride, but I don't think so, because he's very smart, very dedicated person. And example of that was, I think it was 2 weeks ago when USC was playing Cal, and that was a very big game. Well, not Cal, UCLA playing SC, you know what I'm saying? But it was a big game, and he had a chance to go. And I told him, I asked him, are you going to go? He said, no, I'm not going to go. I don't know why. Because we have a big week this week, you know, in the CIF. So, and I was sort of moved by that. You know, that's called dedication. You know, when you give up something that, you know, that you're part of for 4 years, give up for something that you know you've just been here for 1 season. You know, that takes a lot of dedication, and I don't know if other players feel the way I do, but I think our offense this year, our whole team would not be in sync if Coach Mooney wasn't around. So, on behalf of our team and myself, I'll thank Coach Mooney.
to an article of a newspaper, usually in the beginning of the season, and usually about San Marino, you always hear about how many good players we have at skill positions, like quarterback, running back, wide receiver, linebacker, and then if there's anything about line at all, they'll say, oh yeah, good quarterback, great passing game, line stinks, great running back, but I've been a lineman. Of course, I always prove it wrong every year, but I've been a lineman for 4 years, and I'll tell you, I think offensive lineman is a skill position. Because we're not just a bunch of stupid oafs sitting out there not knowing what we're doing. And I think, especially San Marino, we don't fall into the stereotyping of big stupid linemen. Of course, on a certain occasions, Coach Maloney will gently remind us that we are. The bottom line is that you have to use good technique and have a lot of talent to be a good lineman. And through my 4 years, Coach Dowd was the best teacher and coach of that technique. And he taught us how to block well and move well and effectively. And he kept drilling, and once we learned how to do it, he kept drilling us until it became automatic. So in the game, we wouldn't get burned. Of course, we all make mistakes, but he informed us about them in many ways. But the one that impressed me the most was just by watching our game from the previous week on tape and watching every lineman on every play, and then giving us the percentage that he talked about, the pass-fail percentage. And his goal for us was to get better every week, and I believe that thanks to him we did. And just like the offensive lineman he coaches, he never really got the recognition that he deserves, because it's easy to overlook the nearly impossible feat that he performed every year, especially this year. Because last year, all of our offensive linemen were graduating seniors, so we had to find, train, condition, and motivate 5 new starting offensive linemen and 4 new starting defensive linemen. And most of all, which didn't play at all the previous year, or very little. And that's no easy task. And there's no mistake that when the line has high percentages for grading, that our offensive yard total is also high. And as Coach Maloney says, the line can do without the tailback, but the tailback can't do without the line. I think he says it all. And so I want to both personally thank Coach Dow for what he did for me and for the team, because he taught us to step up to the challenge, not just in football, but in life. And I want to let him know that we appreciate what he did and wish him luck next year.
Shannon Proud for Coach Maloney.
That's a good combination.
Well, several weeks ago, a meeting was held at the DG Juani's to decide what speech certain seniors would do. And I didn't happen to show up that night because I had too much homework to do. And just to let you know how much my teammates like me, they stuck me with Coach Maloney. Figuring that I would have enough courage to describe our year with him. And I really shouldn't try to describe Coach Maloney because I think the description would be too long. Confusing would be one word that comes to mind, though. Coach has that funny way of never letting you know what he's thinking. You won't be able to figure him out, so don't even attempt to. But he is by far the most interesting and mysterious coach I've ever had. And that still holds true even after working with him for nearly 3 years. Coach has so much fiery emotion inside of him that at times it seems to just pour out onto all the other players. He really makes you believe in what you're working for, and he doesn't let you give up mentally or physically. Coach has a great way of firing up his players so that they can see what they're really striving for. His competitive nature and endless dedication are the backbone of this team. But Coach isn't all fun. I wouldn't try to tell you that things were always great because they weren't. Coach Maloney is not the easiest coach to work with. I'm sure every player here knows that. But in a way, his rough nature is needed to produce the kind of teams that we have every season. Year after year, the small school of rich kids wins. And the secret really is quite simple. Well, while we may not be the biggest or fastest group around, we certainly are the smartest and some of the most dedicated. And of course, it doesn't hurt to have extremely dedicated and experienced coaches either. When we look back on our years with Coach, I think we will have found that he has taught us some valuable lessons about football and life. Something I've already learned is that the San Marino football program deserves more credit than it receives. I do get sick of always hearing every August that this is going to be a rebuilding year for San Marino, because it won't truly be a rebuilding year until Coach Maloney decides to retire from his job here at San Marino, and that's the truth. So on behalf of every single player, I'd like to thank you, Coach Maloney, for an unforgettable year.
You know, that could have gone a lot of different ways. I'd say you did pretty well, Coach. The board stays pretty hidden throughout the process, but every once in a while we get to show one of our products that we're able to come up with. And Hugh Horn, who was on our board this year, even though he didn't have a player playing football for the full season, has been working very hard on getting the games telecast on American cable, generally at 5 o'clock, sometimes 3, but for the most part they were telecast. He also has done a highlight film, or has worked with the school. Hugh, you want to show the film and then come up and do some comments on it?
I'd rather do it in reverse, if that's okay.
Okay, why don't you come up real quick. Hugh Horn, one of our very active members of the board.
For the past several years, the telecasts of both the sophomore and varsity games and the season-ending highlight films were produced by commercial production companies at a cost at increasing costs. The cost became prohibitive. And we decided this year to try to get the television production department at the school, now supervised by John Bell, who's a 1985 graduate of the high school and a graduate of Loyola Marymount, to do that work. I underestimated and John underestimated the time that it would take for them to do that. But with the help of Ron Minzer primarily and a number of other television students, John Bell was responsible for the production of all of the sophomore games, the varsity games, and John himself did the field camera work for what will be the highlight film. He's in the process with Ron and other students of producing a 25 to 30-minute highlight film. We have a 6 or 7 minute preview tonight. The film is not complete, of course, the season just ended, as you realize. But in the next month or so, they will complete the film. It will be available in January. We don't know exactly what the cost will be. Our plan is for the Booster Club, with whatever capital remains at the end of the year, to subsidize part of the cost. We will send out a form with which you can subscribe to the film, and hopefully the families will pay part, and the Booster Club will pay the remainder of it. When you see Mr. Bell at school, when you see Ron and the others at work, you might thank them, because they put in a heck of a lot of time at a significantly reduced cost. Otherwise, the telecasts and the film wouldn't have been available. With that, Carlos, would you shut down the lights over here, and maybe Ken and Al close those doors? And this is going to be about 6 minutes.